All right, welcome back to Kicking It with Coton House. I am your host, Venetia Brown.
I'm Lori Coton.
And I'm Brandon Hogue.
Okay, so today Brandon is our guest. We are going to be discussing foundations. Yes, foundations is what your house sits on. That's what makes it the most important factor. So Brandon, let's tell the viewers, I guess, what your name of your company is, and let's just jump right into it. As a homeowner, obviously, I probably don't know much about a foundation because I don't see it. It's at the bottom. What is maybe one thing as a homeowner that we probably should take precautions about? I know people get nervous saying like they see the cracks in the tops and things like that. They instantly think that it's a foundation issue. What would you say to a homeowner that may see a crack in the wall? Is it instantly a foundation issue, or what would you say to that?
So to the first question, my company is Structured Foundation Repairs of Houston. So we're the guys that you call out if you do have some kind of an issue. If you see a crack that's concerning, call us out and we can do that at no cost if you're a homeowner. So what I would say to a homeowner that maybe sees a little crack, somewhere in the house. A foundation problem is usually going to exhibit a series of items or stress signs that will indicate a bigger problem. It's usually not just one little crack in the corner of the drywall or something like that. If they see that, that's usually what we refer to as seasonal stress. Okay. That's simply caused by the swelling and shrinking of the soil underneath the house, and that in effect causes the house to rise and fall. And creates those little stress signs that sometimes people get scared about, but are actually fairly meaningless and just cosmetic in nature.
Okay. I mean, I think I used to be one of those people. I kind of still am. So I'm learning. I'm learning today. So like small cracks that you say, like I said, it's not a big issue. It's usually a series of things that people should probably pay attention to. We are rising into storm season. What is something as a homeowner we can probably do either for preventative maintenance and or aftercare of storms?
So two things that create foundation problems, and that's too much moisture and not enough moisture. Too much moisture, like I referred to before, is going to cause our clay-based expansive soil to swell, and that causes a rising up of the foundation. And then when it's 100 degrees outside and it's not raining, that soil's going to shrink because it gets dry, and that's going to cause the foundation to flex down. And so that rising and falling motion of the slab is what ultimately leads to a foundation issue. So the key in terms of preventative maintenance is to minimize that movement, whether it be upward or downward. And the way that you do that is that you control the flow of water, for one, off the house and around the house. And so that would be by using a gutter system around your house if you don't already have that, and a drainage system around the house if you have water that pools for an extended period of time and sits next to the house. Because what you don't want to happen is for water that's falling off of the house and around the house to erode the soil away and change your lot that your house sits on.
Can we unpack that piece right there?
Yeah, absolutely.
So like when you say the water comes off the house and it pools around the house, so when we say pool, we mean obviously it's just kind of, it's just sitting there, it's not evaporating. Are you saying like the soil that connects to the house, it's going to, if it's pooling, it's going to kind of erode away?
Yeah, it can, because that water's splashing down, and water's heavy, and it'll move the soil next to your house around, and it'll push it away, and sometimes leads to really bad erosion problems, which can eventually lead to settlement problems.
All right, so next time it rains, I guess we should see all you guys outside looking at your house.
Well, one of the things with that is that you can do like a rock border around it, like a 2 foot like granite gravel kind of a rock border around the foundation, so that way you don't have too much dirt, etc. But the other thing too that I think probably a lot of us have are underslab plumbing leaks. And that probably causes a lot of foundation issues.
It does. Again, going back to the swelling and shrinking nature of the soil, when we see houses that we suspect have plumbing leaks underneath, what we'll find is through our measurement process of the house, we'll find that there are upheavals. Usually somewhere towards the middle of the house or around where there might be some plumbing in in one of the bathrooms or the kitchen or something like that. and we'll find a rising up of the slab, and then we'll find stress that radiates off of that because it's going to sort of pull the frame of the house apart.
Wow.
In that location, yeah. And so those are houses that we see more interior stress than we do exterior stress.
So let me ask you something about that. So if you have a house that's like that, is it better to go in and fix the plumbing to see how that helps solve the foundation problem, or vice versa?
So in
That's
a
a
case
good
like
question.
that, it is a good question. If we have, I would expect nothing less.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
If we have a situation where we suspected that there is only a plumbing leak underneath, that plumbing leak needs to be repaired, clearly, and after it's repaired, it's going to, or there's a good chance, let me put it that way, of it changing and potentially resulting in a settlement issue down the road. But we're not going to know that for some time, so we just need to keep watching, keep monitoring that area after it's repaired.
Okay.
If you have both a foundation and a plumbing issue, then you need to go ahead, go ahead and attack the foundation first. Get that fixed first, because what we don't want to happen is for you to spend a bunch of money on plumbing repairs, and then we come in and repair the foundation, lift it up, and we undo your
What was just
brand new
done.
plumbing
Yep.
repairs. So
Okay.
always foundation first, and that would apply to just about anything.
Anything? Okay. I mean, so while you're already there, if I was a homeowner, kind of like Lori said, we thought we had, plumbing issues or whatever it is, we contacted you. What does a process with your company look like?
So what we do is we'll send out one of our analysts to the home, and what they do, and I'm one of the analysts, by the way, so I go out and I do this as well. But what we do is we draw a footprint of the house. We've got a tablet that we use,
Okay.
and a product called ArcSight that we draw it on, and then we snap photos of stress signs that we see on the house. So stress signs on the outside would include any separations at the expansion joints or brick cracks, separation between window frames and the brick. On the inside, we're going to look at things like tile cracks and drywall cracks and doors that stick. And again, we're going to take photos and document all of that stuff. And then what we do is we take an elevation survey. So we've got a machine that we use. And
That's that elevation
Yep,
piece.
that's the elevation survey, and that's going to tell us how high or low the floors are relative to a reference spot. So I can essentially look at that data that we get from those measurements, and I can see what's high, what's low, what's consistent, what's not, and then compare
Wow.
that elevation survey, compare the deviations in that elevation survey to the stress on the house, and then I can compare the numbers that I get taking those measurements to the American Society of Civil Engineers guideline as a tool to use in the evaluation. And then those three criteria will tell me generally if a house has a problem or not.
Okay.
And then we can design a repair plan if we do have a problem, and of course if we don't, then we can tell you that we don't have a problem.
Okay, and then what's the cost of a visit? Say I call your company and I'm like, hey, I don't know what's going on. I need somebody to come out here and come and look at my home. The driveway's cracking, the doors are kind of uneven now. So now I think I have a foundation issue. What is a visit cost?
So for a homeowner, or we do a lot of work with real estate agents, and if they have a listing, we don't charge for those visits. We're going to do those for free.
For free?
For free, yeah.
Y'all hear him? For free.
I
So there's
can't
no
do better.
reason why you can't call them. It's for free.
That's right. Now, if we have a real estate agent that has a buyer, we're gonna, and it's a local evaluation, somewhere around the Houston metro area, and you have an inspection report that flags something on the foundation, there's a $50 consult fee. And that goes to helping the guys that drive around and use fuel to do this, so that's a way that we supplement
That's reasonable.
those
That
guys.
makes sense. That absolutely makes sense. So what would you say, okay, so since the first visit, obviously, the diagnosis is free. Obviously, there are probably tons of different repairs or types or reasons why you need to repair a foundation. What's maybe like a cost, if we can do a price range?
Yeah, so
I know it's hard because every situation is different.
Yeah, it's
but
okay.
kind of what's a price range if you just have to do a big job and a small job?
Yep. The average cost of repair is going to be somewhere between about $5,000 and $10,000 would be a good range. You had kind of mentioned that before. But we do see repairs as little as a couple $1,000s and
Oh, wow.
all the way up to six figures. In some cases, of course, that's going to be pretty rare. And that's usually a commercial property when we're talking about something that high.
Wow.
But yeah, so it just kind of depends on the nature of the repair. How many piers are we using? Do we need drainage and foundation repair? Where is the house located? If it's located in a place like Sugar Land, for example, we tend to go deeper with our piers in Sugar Land. So the cost of doing a repair in Sugar Land might be a little bit more, not extravagantly higher or anything like that, but a little bit more than it would
just
cost
based on the area.
in a place like Cypress, for example.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And I know, Lori, when you go do designs, you're at either new homes, you're at older homes, you are doing new builds. What are some things that I guess either you learned along the way or kind of noticed with your eye? Obviously, we're not, we're foundation people. But what are some things, maybe little nuggets you may have noticed with just...
I've been in homes before that are older that maybe have the cupping of the wood floors. Maybe they have dark spots periodically throughout that. Maybe it feels a little soft. You can also look on the perimeter and maybe they don't have enough air going in underneath if it's an old pier and beam. Maybe it just smells mildewy and there's a lot of plugs.
That happens, yeah.
And there's
I
a lot
never
of
thought of
plugs
that.
in. Yeah. And so that's when you call our friend Brandon, because that a lot of times means that the drainage underneath the house is not correct. And if that's the case, then your wood is gonna rot. You're gonna have allergies, and then also the framing members of the house are more than likely rotten and have fallen off of their slabs. So,
Man, I never thought. And I've been in houses where I'm like, what is that smell?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I never thought of that, never knew it. So like, what is maybe like, I guess a guesstimate of repair time? So if someone has to get foundation repair in their home, most homeowners like, oh my gosh, I have to relocate the kids. We got to do this, we got to do that. How long do they need to be out of their homes?
Well, so most repairs we can do with folks in their house. Most of the time. Now, if we're doing a bunch of interior work and it's going to get dusty and messy, I'm usually really highly going to recommend that you not be in the house for that part of the process anyway. But usually folks can be there. That's probably not the time to schedule that all-important conference call or have the baby napping or something like that. But most repairs will take a day or two.
So they don't need to be put out too much.
Most of the time, no. It's going to be a little inconvenient. We've got holes around the house and dirt dug up from the flower bed and stuff like that. We're going to discuss all that stuff with you before, so that you know what you're getting into. But yeah, usually a day or two on average is what it will take. Of course, there are those that take less time and those that will take a week sometimes. So it just depends. But a day or two on average.
That's not bad though.
Yeah,
that's not bad.
too bad.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
So okay, we're in this era and I guess stage of new construction. Is there any kind of nuggets or I guess information that as a buyer of new construction or someone that may possibly get their home built and designed, is there some sort of information that they probably should be asking when their foundation is being poured or whatever materials they're using? Is there anything specific or something you would recommend?
They're pretty cookie cutter anymore in terms of how they construct these slabs. You're usually going to have a post-tension slab. It's usually going to be pre-engineered, and it's going to have beams underneath it and that kind of thing. One of the things that I think is important that's not often thought about is what goes around the house after the construction is complete in terms of landscaping and that kind of thing.
That's really
Not only that, but you want to make sure, and most lot or plans for the lot, they'll design the drainage around the house where you have a swale in the back and a swale on both sides. They're usually pretty good about doing that, but it's certainly something to keep an eye on because, again, drainage is one of the most important things around your foundation to protect it so it doesn't get too wet or too dry. And then the gutters that we talked about before, I highly recommend getting gutters.
You need gutters.
And it's something I don't see a whole lot of in
They don't
Houston, as much
put
rain
gutters.
as we get.
Right,
Yeah.
which is crazy. So
Yeah.
what's a swell?
So a swale is going to be a lower portion of the lot around the house.
So like a little dip.
Almost like a dip, or I don't want to say
Like a slant?
not a ditch, but it would be, if my house was right here, I would have a positive grade of the soil this way, and then I would have it, let's say maybe I have a retaining wall over here, and I have a positive grade this way to create that dip or that lower portion, and that way
Oh. gravity
can take that water away from the house and let it run out to the street.
All right, so you guys should be going outside and going looking at your house and seeing how it's
The,
structured.
the other thing, if I can, would be the placement of trees around the house.
Oh, that's a good one.
You want to make sure that that builders don't, plop that tree right in front of the swing garage where they built the lot up, and it's just a few feet from the foundation, because that tree is going to grow.
The roots are gonna hit right
Yeah,
under, right?
and it may look great at first, but after a while, it's going to grow and it's going to be a problem.
It's gonna be a nightmare.
You know, one of the many reasons I like y'all so much is that you come in and you're really strategic and
Yeah.
thoughtful
Yes, ma'am.
about where it
Thank you.
goes. And you're thoughtful too with topography, thinking about how much sand is here, how much soil is here, because it varies so much. I've been to so many houses where, the guy just comes and is like, okay, boom,
Yep.
boom, 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 boom. Just does them
Keep it all
everywhere.
standard, yes.
Right,
It's
yeah,
just standard.
everywhere.
It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I always tell the guys that work for us that you want to look from the roof and all the way down when you're
Wow.
doing an evaluation, because it's really to me, my philosophy is that you want to look at it in a comprehensive way.
I like that.
I may have problems from the roof down. It's possible, and so I want to start attacking it from that angle. And if it's just a few piers or something that we need to put on the house, then fine. But it may need a gutter system. It may need
Yeah.
some drainage as well. So
I absolutely love that. I absolutely love that. So for those who are who have additional questions and or may possibly need your services, where do we find you? Social media handles and kind of like what you like to do for your process.
Sure. Well, you can visit us at www.structuredhouston.com. You can call us at 832-230-5490.
Okay.
You can look us up on Facebook. You can look us
What are you
up
on Facebook? Are you Standard
Instagram.
Houston? Or on Instagram? What's your handles?
Boy, you had to ask me that question.
We'll put the link. We'll put the link in the bottom of the
There you
video.
go.
So this
That's a good
way,
way
you
to
For
guys,
solve
my
it.
media person to give you an answer.
this way you guys can go ahead and go and visit them. I hope
Thank you.
that you have been able to learn a little bit more. Foundations is something that I even don't know a lot of information about. But because of the climate of where we live at, it's very important that you even understand at least the basics of it. So we thank you for kicking at Coton House with us today, and we'll see you guys next week.